Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Today, I'm back here with the birthday boy. That's right, Patek Philippe, in this case, the reference 5110G. Now, Patek Philippe has a long history with world time watches. They actually debuted the technology back in the late 1930s with the 1415HU, the Heure Universelle. The idea being that if you had a chapter ring within the dial that was able to display 24 time zones, that could be synced to 24 reference cities that would be used to judge the time in any one of those time zones simultaneously 24 hours a day. Now the idea is that you have these reference cities on the outer chapter ring, and then just inside that you could see this darker disc that's silver and blue, and what that actually is a separate piece of the movement that moves counterclockwise as the hands on the watch move clockwise. And in the course of its travel around the dial, it will always be synced relative to the reference time at center. Now your local time is going to be displayed at 12, and by placing your reference city here in New York, because I'm in Miami, so I'm on New York time, by displaying that reference time and reference city at 12 and correctly setting local time, you'll have a display of all these other cities. For instance, right now, let me just show you how this works. In New York, Miami, it's just after 12 o'clock. So I can see that it's just after 12 o'clock here, but what I want to do, for instance, if I want to look in London, London's a little bit further down. Okay, in London it's going to be just after 5 o'clock. Now there's an easier way to do this if I'm traveling. London being after 5 o'clock when I read 1700 London and see that the minute hand is just after the hour up here, I know it's like 3 after 5 in London. But if I'm actually traveling to London, now this is a Patek Philippe complication element that was patented a couple of decades after their original world time watch and finally implemented when this watch launched in 2000. But I can advance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Now I'm on basically GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, London, and you can see that the watch has actually advanced its hands as well as the chapter ring to show that London time, right now, it's just about 4 minutes after 5 o'clock. And that's the key difference with the Patek Philippe 5110 and its successors. You have the ability to advance both the chapter rings and the hands in sync as you travel through time zones. And because there's no date, there's really no chance of confusing the watch's indications, because if you go 24 hours, you simply wind up where you were. You don't accidentally advance the date and create complications that require resetting and correction through the crown. So this is the ultimate travel watch. And again, if you were jumping back a time zone, you would just cycle through, until you get to that city without worrying about a date jump. So this watch is fantastically user-friendly for traveling and for referencing distant time zones. It's about as easy as it gets in terms of world time complications. And this watch is as traditional as it gets with Patek Philippe. Now, it's a traditional size. A lot of people have bemoaned the growth of Patek Philippe references over the years. The original 1415 of 1939 was a little too petite for most tastes. Even the retro grouches are going to probably admit that 31 millimeters was too tiny. But at the same time, the newer references, which are getting darn close to 40, maybe just a little too large for a truly elegant dress reference, which is why the 5110 at 37.5 is pretty much just right. Not too hot, not too cold, not too big, not too small. And on the back, you see a variant of the reference 240 caliber, in this case the 240/188, that's just redolent of Patek Philippe pedigree, and on several counts. First and foremost, there's that 22 karat gold micro rotor. Now the micro rotor is distinctive of some of the automatic winding Patek Philippe's with complications because it allows complications to be built on top of a very thin base movement. By keeping the base movement thin, the total complication can be quite compact, maintaining the fine and thin case that is characteristic of Patek Philippe complications, and really the price of admission for the truly high-end watch. It's one thing to build complications in a thick sandwich of a case, another to keep it slim on the wrist so it'll fit under cuffs and dress shirts. Now, besides the micro rotor, which is an entertaining little thing to look at in itself, this watch is finished to the standards that you expect of Geneva's finest. Now, this watch was originally retailed in 2004 December of 2004. It was a 2000 to 2006 production item. So every one of these 5110s will have the Poinçon de Genève, the little Geneva stamp, which you can see right there next to the crown. Now that's the old signature, validating the finish level of every element of this, from the wheels to the screws to the plates, the bridges. Patek Philippe was one of the #1 proponents of the Geneva Seal standard of watch finishing, which means that the watch has been independently audited before receiving the Geneva Seal by an authority appointed by the city of Geneva. Now, they discontinued that practice in July of 2009, preferring to go with the in-house Patek Philippe seal. And while there's no doubt that the standards have remained high, there's also a vintage charm and a traditional appeal to the Geneva Seal. It's an institutional, historic, artistic standard, and it's really a calling card of a more romantic era of Patek Philippe watchmaking. So a lot of those who've objected to the design direction of the company these days, the aesthetic direction of the company, will also be attracted to the Geneva Seal movements just because they are traditional. They're for the dyed-in-the-wool Patek Philippe enthusiasts. And of course, that goes hand in hand with the more traditional size. Now finally, it's worth noting that this watch features the signature Patek Philippe Gyromax balance, free-sprung with a variable inertia, balance block-equipped balance wheel. Very precise, yes, but also capable of maintaining accuracy through daily wear and tear on the wrist. Now this watch is not as susceptible to deviation due to shock, due to vibration, displacement, temperature, as many fine, ultra-thin dress references because of that Patek Philippe Gyromax innovation, which was, like the world time complication itself, developed by Patek Philippe in the first half of the 20th century. Now this 5110G is available from watchyouwant.com with full boxes, papers, documents, manuals, accessories. Everything that you would receive at a Patek Philippe authorized dealer is available with this watch. It presents as new, and it is in outstanding functional and aesthetic condition. Check it out on our website, watchyouwant.com. I'm confident when you've had a look at this Patek Philippe 5110G World Time, if you're in the market for a traditional, complicated Patek Philippe with impeccable provenance, condition, and accessories, you will be confident this is the watch you want.